So I went to so basically I was doing two college tours. I won't talk much about that, but the first part of the college tour was in Asheville, the first college I was seeing. So on the way there, we stopped at this place in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I'm sure most of the listeners have heard of it. It's kind of between Tennessee and North Carolina. I know David Johnston. If he's listening, shout out to him. He shoots in there a lot. Um, Beautiful park, and I think it was about probably a week before peak fall color, but the fall color is still spectacular. So we stopped there first on the way to Asheville, and there's this specific valley. I'm not gonna name it because there was already a ton of people there, and just because of the sensitive animals there. But there's this valley in the park. I'm sure you can find it very easily. But this valley basically it has a herd of I think it's two herds of elk, and it was kind of a toss up. These elk only so it is October, so it's the rutting season for them, which is their mating season. But it was kind of a toss up because we were going midday just because of timing, and they usually only come out at dawn and dusk because they sleep during the day. But somehow when I got there, about 30 minutes later, I was photographing some turkeys, and all of a sudden, just one little elk comes out, and I was really excited. So I shot this. It was a female. I shot this female for a while, and then more start coming out, more females, and then two bulls end up coming out, and it's just this cycle. More and more elk keep coming out, and these big bulls keep getting closer and closer. I'm staying a safe distance, of course. Um, there's like six other photographers with me, so it definitely wasn't like a isolated scenario. Like this valley is known for the elk, but this time of day was so odd to see them. And I was lucky enough to get clouds to come in, so I could get neutral lighting of the elk, so that harsh lighting came out, kind of disappeared. And I was able to shoot these elk for 3 hours, like literally 3 hours, from like 3:30 to 6:30. It was spectacular. I've been in like a rut coincidentally elk rut, but I've been in like a shooting rut, and this instantly broke it. It was just 3 hours of straight shooting these elk. I got photos of the calves and of the bulls and everything. I got the bulls bugling. I got video footage of that. I got all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was crazy. They were very close, safe distance, of course, but like they were close enough to get nice frame filling shots with my 500 millimeter lens, and it was just spectacular. I just 3 straight hours of it, and I loved it. It was so good. I've heard a lot about elk. I've never been able to shoot them, and this was my first time. And they definitely superseded my expectations. Like hearing an elk bugle is just crazy. Like the sound, you never think it would come from an elk, but it did, and it was just amazing. So
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I never experienced quite something like that before with elk or whatever, but like, just how did it feel? I mean, like, because that they look, I don't know, in pictures and video I've seen, like they look massive. Like, I think the closest comparison to us in Ohio is like white-tailed deer, which are very ever
uh,
prevalent. But like, I imagine like their size is at least triple, maybe double, triple, like a
I
white-tailed
would
deer.
say, I would say they're probably twice as like, or maybe like yeah, twice as tall as white-tailed deer, but they're like their body mass, they're just so much like thicker than white-tailed deer. Like they're huge animals, especially these bulls. I mean, these bulls' antlers alone are like 5 feet tall, and then you have these. They're just these. I'm not kidding. Like it's crazy. Like if you see on my Instagram, I just posted one. Their antlers are just crazy, and then their bodies are huge. They've got like this two-toned look to them. Uh, it's just so cool, and they bugle to kind of keep the calves in check. So basically, with these elk, they have multiple mates. So like the bulls will like fight the other bulls. I didn't get to see the fight, unfortunately, but there were two bulls, and they were kind of like bugling at each other and trying to claim the females. So I got to see all of that. I mean, it was just amazing. It's probably one of the best experiences I've had doing wildlife. I mean, it was amazing.
Wow, I'm looking at the photo now, and that is incredible, man.
Thank
that
you,
is
thank
so
you.
It's
Yeah.
so it's neat hearing like your story, and then just you're visualizing, you're explaining this whole like scenario, and then like I go like the big reveal, and I look at the photo, and I'm just like, that is crazy, man. And it's cool because for anyone that isn't looking at the photo, like Henry took this kind of the side profile view, and it cut off I think about halfway on the elk.
Hmm.
So it's featuring, and it has its mouth fully open, and but like I think the coolest part that sets it apart for me, because you're describing the antlers being like 5 feet tall or long, like it's just you see that you can see that size, that spatial like difference, because like it's a profile view, so like you're seeing the length of it compared to in proportion to its head or its body, and
Hmm.
like that is just intense, man. And it's like it is so cool looking. Like you
Yeah, I
really
mean,
capture the size of it, like and like that cropped in view. Like most people say, like cutting off the animal like is a no no, but like I feel like it works because you put more attention on the face and the antlers that way.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was honestly scary for a bit, like seeing these big animals and just trying to kind of safely convey what they are, because they're not deer. They're nowhere close to deer. The closest I can describe them to is like they're almost like a combination of like a brown bear and like a cow or something. It's
Hmm.
very interesting. Like um,
They're
you know,
definitely
they're
not like big. I mean, like big in like a like a cow, I guess sense. But they definitely
uh-huh.
have that mass to them, I guess. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and they don't behave like deer. Like they're definitely not scared of humans. Like there were some dumb photographers there that like were getting right up on the elk, and these elk were letting them get close. And these were the females. If it was the male, he probably would have attacked them. But these females, they'll let you get really close. They're not scared like deer. They're very different. And I shot 800 photos of these guys. So uh, I think I did my kind of narrowing down last night. I think I narrowed it down to about 100 raw files that I need to edit of these elk. The one I posted on Instagram was just kind of the first edit I've done. But yeah, I got all kinds of just different shots of the calves together and the bulls and all kinds of stuff. So it was awesome.
That is awesome, man. Man,
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. So it says you use your 100 to 500 lens.
Hmm.
Like how? I'm trying to guesstimate with the image. Like how far away were you, or how close?
Okay, so for that guy, um, that was towards the end of the night. So there's it's this big valley. The valley's probably as long as two football fields, and you have to stay on the road. That's the national park rule, since it's during the rut. So I was on the road and I was kind of angled to the side, so he was right. There was like a hill between us, but like he was like probably like 40 feet away. You're supposed to be 50 feet, but like it was one of those cases where I couldn't get back in time. So like Um, it was like one of those cases where you couldn't get back, if that makes sense, because he was kind of moving. He had just stopped, and I took a shot and then moved. Um, but yeah, he was pretty darn close there, and I was all the way out at 500 for this shot. I did do quite a bit of shots where I was at like the more 300 or one, even some at 100, just to kind of show the autumn landscape around the elk. But I really did like getting in tight and getting those nice fur details and getting the texture on the antlers. Uh, I don't know if you see in that image. There's some. It's kind of hard to see, but there's some specks, and that's not sensor dust. That's actually ladybugs. I don't know. It was so weird. This valley. I've never seen so many ladybugs. Like it was just constant ladybugs flying around these elk and flying around me. There must have been thousands. It was weird, but it was just really cool. So
Hmm. I mean, now I guess now I'm looking at it. I see it kind of like hovering around the antlers. Is that what
hmm
you mean? I see those little
yeah,
specks. Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
So
that's where I
those
see
are
it the
all
most.
ladybugs. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, okay, okay,
Uh,
cool. Man, that's awesome. Did you mainly shoot them like midday, or did you try to go like hunt them down, so to speak, at like sunrise or something or sunset?
so it was far away from Asheville, so it was kind of a stop on the road. So we shot it from 3:30 to 6 to about 6:30 or 7. And I was lucky enough to get that neutral lighting from clouds covering the sun. It was pretty dark, so pretty high ISO, but I was able to get like a nice neutral exposure on these elk. So the lighting really didn't change, so I could just kind of focus on composition.